Welcome guys, Brandon here from Terminated Gaming, and we are starting a new series. I'll be honest, this is the third time I have tried to record this series. I keep changing things, so that's why I keep changing it, or that's why this is the third time. That's why I keep changing it. No duh, Brandon. Anyways, so this is Transport Fever 2. If you haven't known, Transport Fever 1 was the original game, and the same developers decided to make a second one with updated graphics, different mechanics, and all that kind of stuff. It's a noticeable better improvement than Transport Fever 1, which I actually got to review early a number of years ago from the developers themselves, but that content I've since removed from the channel as we have restarted the efforts of this channel. So, what is the goal of this series? So the goal is to create a realistic, good-looking region, or cities inside the region. So just as a disclaimer for this episode, there will be no time-lapse, or no actual movement of time, and no cities will be developed. This map is completely barren, there was nothing spawned in, so we get to build the whole thing from scratch however we want to start. So I am starting with what will be the capital of the region, which is Brandenburg. It's a throwback to a lot of series that we used to do, where the cities were called Brandenburg. My ancestry is from that area, so I do a lot of stuff with that. Now, we've spent a noticeable amount of time on this dock, and you're probably like, Brandon, why are you constantly working on this? It's like, well, I wanted it to be able to function as both the passenger and the cargo, which is something that I don't believe was in Transport Fever 1. I haven't played it in several years, so I don't know if I can't remember if it was or not. But this configuration thing now, where we can actually build these multi-faceted structures like this, is really awesome. So I can have one constant dock structure that can function for two different purposes, which is passengers and cargo. So since there's no city spawned here, we have to actually write in all the names ourselves, and I believe this city will be spawned in as Brandenburg for the next episode. Spoiler if you haven't figured that out yet, from me telling you. And then there's going to be one further up to the left of that, which will be, for now, will be OKC, and then further up from that, I think, Shreven, or something. I'm using the American default names for this map, and yeah. So, the reasons I've restarted this 2 times from the original, because I actually had like 4 episodes done for the original, which took like, between recording it, doing the voiceovers, doing all the editing and all that, took me probably like 12 hours for 3 episodes. And then I did 2 episodes again, redid them, and actually had them ready to go and ready to post. And then I was like, but I've learned from these 2 different stretches how to do things better, or at least a little bit better. So I've restarted the series again using those same ideas, and hopefully this will be the last time I restart it. I'm just gonna roll with it. So what you see me doing here is I am building both the passenger and cargo terminals separately here, which is weird considering how I did the dock. But the reason I'm doing this is because I can have the full-length tracks. If I were to do it the other way, I'd have to alternate the platforms, and this way I just have almost constant long platforms. And yes, the passenger line and the cargo line will flow through each other, because that's how rail systems in America work, at least for the most part from what I've seen. I grew up in the Midwest, so most rails we don't have very many passenger lines, but they run on the same set of rails, and you just have bypass rails. So I'm just gonna limit the amount of actual rails that are available. So I'm not gonna go excessive where there's like a long stretch of 4 rails, but I will have bypasses and all that kind of stuff, so trains can wait for each other. You'll see that more in the next episode of this, which should come out in a week from today. So a lot of this episode, like I said, is not any actual there's no simulation going in, because I don't even spawn a city in within the first hour. If you don't know, these are sped up by 4 times, and they are an hour-long segment, so that makes a 15-minute video, which is Pretty close to the ideal for the algorithm on YouTube, because YouTube really doesn't like longer videos, which really hurts other series that we do, kind of like the Terminated Restoration series. If you haven't seen that, is a role-playing series that we do on the channel. Go check that out. But yeah, so here, like I said, I'm not going to be running. There's 6 actual platforms and 6 actual set of rails coming out of that passenger line. And no, they're not. 4 of them aren't going to come this way, but I wanted to put the train depot out this way so it's connected in, so you only have to have one train depot and have all the rails connected. So this is just branch off points for all the rail sets, and that took me a little bit because I wanted to make sure I had enough length for each of the rail sets and, you know, look okay. They don't have to look spectacular. And then I'm also doing underpasses, so that way the roads don't have to go over, or that way the road that connects the docks doesn't have to go over the railroad tracks. That can go under, which wouldn't be too out of line. And if you've noticed, the docks actually connect on a double-sided platforms there, so you have the passenger and the cargo dock. So the passengers coming from the dock can go right onto the train. Train people can go right to the dock. Same thing for the what will be the cargo terminal there. Cargo trains can come in and go right to the docks, and the dock can go straight to the cargo train. And the cargo train will be able to send out materials, or receive and send out materials in the region. Whereas I like using the ships more because they can carry a large amount of cargo over a long distance, and it's very little infrastructure need compared to the trains, which are a lot of infrastructure need. Gosh, I can't speak today. So yeah, here I'm actually setting up the passenger trains. I try, and keyword try, my goal is to try and limit the number of terminal stations, because a lot of real world applications don't have terminal stations. They go continuously through, but in some locations just having a through station doesn't make sense. So right there I have a terminal station, and here I'm just making sure that the line goes up, so the bottom lines are used for, you know, outer city travel. So since this city up here, OKC, is what this one will be, since this one's further up, I had that one as a more local train, where those other ones will be a little bit further out. Oklahoma City is like actually really close to this to the capital, and Oklahoma City will also be the route of which certain industries will come from. I believe that comes in a little bit later in this episode, as along with the start of the building to, I believe I can't remember what the city's called. I think it's called Shreven or something. But as anyways, these names of these will actually change. I will ask people in my Discord for name ideas for all the cities except for Brandenburg, obviously. And that's how so those names won't stay. But that's what we're going to call them for now, because they're just generating with that. And I've never heard of that town. It's the American City Pack has this town in here apparently called Shreven, and it's like, it's spelled like that. I don't know if it's pronounced like that. And I've never heard of that town name. Granted, where I grew up, people probably would just be like, "What? I've never heard of that town," because it's a unique name too. But yeah, so this series will hopefully last a little while. I know from actually working on it, it goes by quick, because next episode we spawn in like 3 cities, and we have train lines connected up and all that. It doesn't take as long in this as compared to like City Skylines to build out a road network, because you're really not doing that in this. You're doing transport networks. You're actually trying to send passengers, send goods, all that kind of stuff. You're not trying to build the cities, whereas what we're actually trying to do in this is going to be forcing these cities to grow in a direction that we'd like. You'll see that a lot next episode. I call it city pruning in this game, and I do it so that way a city will have its industry in like a reasonable place, its commercial and residential in a reasonable place. It also allows for better dispersion of goods. The less things that have to go in the way of a good making it to the market is awesome. So what I mean by that is having a cargo ship that brings in all those goods and immediately can disperse it to the needed industry or commercial is awesome. Whereas if you have to have a truck take it any further, it slows it down a little bit. So I like having that little bit of simplicity, even though everything is going straight to Brandenburg on this map. Everything will be shipped in there and then dispersed from there as the capital of the region. And especially like with the airport and all that, which I don't know if it's placed to this episode or next episode. And I mean, it won't be functional for a while until we get some towns that are further out. So up here is that one I was telling you about. So basically what's going on here is this town will house lumber and iron and coal, and it'll be shipped down to Oklahoma City Port via that rail station that you see in between the two, which has the actual sawmill, and that sawmill will take the lumber train, make it into the planks, and then send that down to OKC. And then OKC will send that over to Brandenburg, which will disperse it by truck, actually, as I was saying that I didn't like that. Disperse it by truck to the Brandenburg industry, which will do machines, tools, and I believe goods. And then things will need to be shipped back. But I think Brandenburg we use as machines and tools as the needed goods for that. So here you see me placing in all these industries and then placing these extra little access points in the station, which is another nice thing that I enjoy that they brought in, was being able to place those access points. So the cargo terminal doesn't have to, you don't have to worry about if it's actually going to fit in that cargo terminal. So basically here what you're seeing me do now is I'm placing a steel mill down here, so immediately that ore doesn't have to be shipped via ship to a different location. It can actually be processed right off of the train and then shipped to the port of Brandenburg, where it can be turned into tools and machines. And the two cities up here will not also have tools and machines. One will have machines and one will have tools, and along with another goods. So that way we can force Brandenburg to grow faster than the two other cities, because Brandenburg will take immediate hits to population and size due to the fact that we will control where it's going to be first, because I want to make that the largest city in the region before these other ones grow or get a chance to really grow out. Of course, they will be connected via passenger, which does boost your growth rate in the game, but that'll be the limiting factor. So here you see me going against the rule that I said previously, is putting in that extra little train depot right there. That is temporary, because then I realized, hey, I can actually connect to the passenger lines and all that through rail systems and actually have it feed over here. It doesn't work nearly as well as I'd hope at first, and it will probably have to do some reworking in the future, but we'll get to that point when we get to it. So here we're actually finally starting to build all the lines out. So the Oklahoma City port to Brandenburg, and then also there's two lines there, so it can split the materials evenly, or a little bit more evenly, so it's not just like, here's 300 lumber that needs to be shipped out. And so I also put the shipyard up here, but looking at it, it's like, it's not a very central location. Those ships have a long ways to go before they can even reach. Like, theoretically, if we were going to have ships send things elsewhere other than just between those two cities right now, but hey, for the short run it works, I guess. So here's what I'm talking about with I'm going to make a triangle shape, so that way trains can go from Brandenburg station up to what will be Shreven up here, and then also to Oklahoma City, and then also hop on to the cargo lines over here. So yeah, here's where I'm doing those branch off points, trying to figure out how to connect it easily. I know I said that I wanted to, in the city of Brandenburg, I did make it where the roads went underneath the railroad tracks, as you can see with those little wings sections, whereas elsewhere I didn't. And we're nearing the end of the episode, so as always, I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Shut up and sit down.